Today I have the pleasure of speaking with Pete. Pete, would you like to introduce yourself and your company to the community?
Sure. Hi. I'm Peter Barfield. I am the founder of Cloud Construct. We were founded in July 2012, so we've just ticked over our 10-year anniversary. So that's a milestone I'm proud to have achieved. We're based here in Telford at the University of Wolverhampton campus. So we've got the Innovation Centre there. Not that we spend too much time in the office nowadays like everybody else, but we've got a nice base there.
It's absolutely fabulous that you've been around you're on your 10-year anniversary year, which is amazing. So what is your core products or core services that you provide?
I often find it quite difficult to explain a lot of what we do because it's quite diverse and it's to a lot of different markets. Some of our largest customers are in the marine industry, for example. Some are in the apparel industry. But what we do can apply to any businesses, which makes it really difficult for us to go out to market. Because obviously that key thing when you're marketing is you need to know what you're offering to that particular sector. And we struggle, in honesty, but we build, we've got our own software as a service product. So that is some software that we sell to people who are board directors, people that put up for sale signs, sold signs. So that's some software that we run with a monthly charge, and that's almost a business within our business. We've got other ideas for different products we'd like to launch as well. We're Amazon Web Service partners, so that means we can use all these amazing new features and things that are coming out all the time with those guys, building truly global based cloud hosting solutions. So what I mean by that is you have a website or an e-commerce system that runs just as well in America or Europe or Australia, or wherever you are in the world. That's a real challenge. How do you manage all the different currencies and the speed and the transfer of data and making sure it's all correct and in sync and doing things like that. We build bespoke software. So for example, I was given a 60-second pitch by our content writer to do the other day, so I can try this on you. Here we go. You've been using your same software, off-the-shelf software, for years. You're paying for multiple licenses, which gets more expensive as your team grows, and you're stuck using the same computers. People can't log in from home or on the road. So this is really key to what happened in COVID, right? Suddenly people couldn't get into the office. They couldn't use their systems that were based in the office. And there might be loads of features in that software you bought that you don't use. And there could be a bunch of stuff that actually you do want to use. So it becomes quite frustrating and inefficient, and it can waste a lot of time. So using bespoke software, what we do is we will look at what you're using, how are you using it, what features you want, what features you need, and rebuild it on the cloud and make it so it's accessible anywhere, making sure it's efficient. We might integrate that with your other systems. So for example, we're working on a project at the moment. We've completely rebuilt all the software they're running, and now we're enhancing it to integrate with their finance systems. So their invoicing happens automatically, for example, or they've got up-to-date information and dashboards and know exactly how profitable their business is at the push of a button. So we're solving a lot of headaches through bespoke software that sits on the cloud.
And what have you noticed has changed in those 10 years? 10 years in the technology industry is a lifetime. What's been the biggest kind of change that you've noticed with your experience?
So it's interesting. We've just done a recent sort of retrospective review of what has happened, and it was kind of eye-opening to think, back in 10 years ago, mobile devices, people were still barely using them really, other than using them for phones and maybe photos. So I'd say that's probably one of the biggest changes. Is certainly everything that we develop for now is usually mobile first in some way. People expect whatever we make in the cloud, if it's e-commerce or bespoke applications or software, whatever, has to be mobile focused. If you think Netflix wasn't really around 10 years ago, the way we've all adopted and embraced the internet in what's quite modern terms is very surprising when you start to think about it.
No, completely. Thank you. And have you noticed a difference with kind of post-pandemic into the cost of living crisis? Have you noticed that in your world yet?
Not so much. So the pre-pandemic, we were already working remotely. We've not changed the way we did that. We were kind of saying, well, welcome to our world. This is what we've always been doing. We have benefited in a way that the rest of the world is caught up with working how we have. People have learned that new skill of being able to communicate on a screen like this, being able to share a desktop, being able to share a whiteboard and explain visually, still very simply using online calls. It's helped reduce our traveling and things. It's helped actually increase maybe the number of meetings that we have to make sure that a project is going more on track and giving that feedback visually without having to go for the expense and time of meeting up, which we still like to do, obviously, because collaborating physically is still the best way of doing things. But that's certainly helped. A cost of living crisis, other than developers and the cost of having work done has kind of got more difficult for companies. You know, they're finding it harder to find talented people to do the work for them, and that's somewhere where we can benefit because we've got a good team here that we charge sensible prices for. We're not charging London prices. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of benefiting, I guess, from that. And people are happy to work further away or look further afield for getting services done. And we work for people who are all over the country or even the world. So I guess that's kind of benefited that people don't feel they have to work with someone down the road.
No, of course. And it's so true. It's the remote working and the power of connecting in this way has really changed a lot of people's mindsets.
Yeah, without a doubt. There's no going back.
We just continue to evolve. So more about you, and how did you, going right back to when you first started the business, what inspired you to go, right, doing it, I'm starting Cloud Construct as a business?
I wasn't a natural entrepreneur. I'm a tech guy. I spent my entire life loving technology and what it can do, and computers, and maybe an unhealthy fascination, some people might say. But I had a very, very good understanding of, or still have a very good understanding of, many different technical disciplines. And my history is building websites back in the beginning of the internet, hand coding, building e-commerce solutions, databases, and always trying to think, how can I better apply technology to help improve someone's life or business processes or something. And it's something that's always excited me. And I worked for a business where I built an ISP, which is internet service provider, a hosting environment, servers and connections, and hosting hundreds and hundreds of businesses' content, I guess. And I kind of just reached a point where I just thought, well, why am I doing this for someone else? I was reaching that next point in my personal growth, where you start to think, well, what next? Do I go and work for a bigger company? And I've never fancied the idea of working for a large corporate or just being a number at a desk, being disposable essentially. And I always enjoyed working with smaller businesses, and that friendliness, that collaboration that you build, and also being able to use my talents to produce effective, affordable solutions. I kind of, I guess, became a smaller business specialist in that way. And I wanted to go out and help more companies and things. So yeah, 10 years ago, it was, it just felt like the right time. And yeah, it was a bit of a leap of faith. Had a good chat with the wife. Do you mind us living on your salary for a year or two, maybe? Saved up some money, and that's what we did. We didn't take any money out of the business from my salary for a good year or more. We were fortunate we could do that. yeah, and then started to employ people. And that's when it gets really exciting, because then it's the responsibility of making sure that they're looked after. And that is a responsibility I don't take lightly. Everything I do and the planning and everything of the business, it's not really about making me financially better off. It's how I can help our employees and develop them and bring them up and offer training, and they're starting families and getting married and all that kind of stuff. And it's you're supporting other people then, and the business is obviously a lot more than just me. It's those guys. They're the ones doing the work. And
Amazing. What a journey you've been on.
Yeah, we've done it stably, slowly. We have a smaller number of really good customers that stick and retain with us. I mean, some I've been working with for 20 years or more. And I've never wanted to build the company in get more customers, get more people, big marketing campaigns, all that kind of stuff, because I've seen it go wrong so many times where it's not sustainable. And you get something like COVID, and unless you've got that big income of all these turnover of people, and back in the days when people were just knocking out websites left, right, and center, and you had to have a massive number of inquiries and people and deals, and it's not a place I wanted to be. I want to be able to sleep at night and not be worrying about how I'm going to make sure I can keep everyone employed and keep the business running. So it's been a fairly slow and steady journey, I guess, but it's about quality of life. It's about doing what you enjoy and working with people and on projects you want to work on.
Yeah, no, amazing. And what do you think's been your biggest learning since you started?
I've always been an organized person, being a tech guy. I guess that's in my nature, but although I guess I know some tech guys are a bit messy, but but it certainly helped with the business. We started started the business with the idea of making sure that everything was as efficient as possible from day one. And what I mean by that is making sure our systems are streamlined. So we've got all of our time sheets that we work on. We have a system that manages what we're working on, what task, for how long. And then that automatically goes through into our account system, and that automatically goes through invoicing. So we've got a very close understanding at any day where the business is, financially, or any other ways. So it helps us to be very dynamic, efficient, and it really helps my sanity, really, where the performance of the business is at any single time. And that's the kind of thing we try and encourage other people to do. If you're starting a new business now, my single biggest advice is just thinking about setting it up correctly from day one. And a lot of people forget that. They go on I need to sell things, I need to go out and do all this, and they get really excited and they sell loads of stuff, and then they suddenly find that their actual business systems and the way they're managing things, or their data, or they've got a bit of information here, something over there, and nothing's cohesive. So then they go in a bit of a quick back step. How am I going to grow? I've got to get more organized. It's better if you start right from day one.
Yeah, no, perfect. And my last question really is, what most inspires you today?
Again, being a tech guy, I'm often keeping my mind open to what's new and what's happening. There's so much happening, for example, in the crypto world. You've probably heard of NFTs. They've got a fairly bad reputation for being these things that cost silly amounts of money, and that's what the focus has been. But you can use our tech in much more interesting ways. So, for example, we've been looking at how we could use NFTs to give out as a loyalty bonus. So one of the e-commerce shops we have is it's a global website over multiple territories, thousands and thousands of customers. And if you've got a good customer and you want to reward them, then you could hand them this digital token, this NFT. If that's in their browser, then that might open to them things like specific sales or items that you can't normally buy. So you suddenly helping to build loyalty to your brand. And so I guess the inspirations for me are how we can use technology like that. I was reading about a nuclear fusion reactor, which is like the deepest underground thing in the world. Somewhere, I think it was over in Japan, and how they're studying nuclear fusion to understand the birth of stars and things, and that technology, and how we still somehow manage to end up in a world where we're just fighting each other all the time, and this chaos we're in, and so much is about money and gain and all the rest of it. And to me, it's inspirational to see what these scientists are doing and what we're trying to learn about the universe, where we are, where we fit in it. And I think it's healthy sometimes to take a step back and go, actually, we're a very small part of everything around us, and we shouldn't lose sight of that and treat each other better and enjoy what we're doing here more. And yeah, I suppose our small part of that is how can we use technology to achieve that, I guess.
And it's an absolute fabulous interview you've done. So thank you so much.